Life was tough for me growing up. But when I found out what was really happening in Pine Hill, everything got much worse. This is my story, and I need to tell it before it's too late. I grew up in a small town called Pine Hill. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other. The town had a big forest nearby, and that's where I lived with my dad in an old wooden cabin. My mom died when I was born, and I always felt guilty about that because it was just the two of us. My dad and I were really close. I never had any friends in town. The other kids wouldn't play with me. I know now it was because they thought it was weird that I only had a dad. Back then, people thought every kid needed a mom and dad. That's probably why we lived in the forest instead of in town. We didn't fit in. I remember once when I was 6, a boy came up to me at school and said, "My mom says to stay away from you. She says your family isn't right." I didn't know what to say, so I just walked away and played by myself, throwing rocks in a puddle. When I was 7, something really bad happened. A girl in my class named Jenny went missing. I remember Jenny had really light blonde hair that she always wore in 2 pigtails with bright ribbons. She had blue eyes too. She used to look at me in class, whisper to her friends, and then they would all laugh at me. I was used to kids being mean to me, but this was different. After Jenny disappeared, everyone in our small, quiet town freaked out. Neighbors who used to chat every day stopped talking to each other. Parents wouldn't let their kids play outside unless an adult was watching them. Nobody had ever worried about their kids before, but now everything changed. The police and lots of people from town searched for Jenny for days. They looked everywhere, especially in the forest near my house, but they never found her. After a while, people just gave up. They decided she was gone forever. Pine Hill became like a ghost town, but I didn't mind. Now I could walk home alone without other kids bullying me. I had the whole town to myself. One evening I got home and found my dad making dinner. I was really hungry because, as usual, the other kids had stolen my lunch at school. "Sit down, honey," my dad said with a smile. I jumped onto a wobbly wooden chair, excited for dinner. While I was eating, I said, "They didn't find Jenny." "Poor little girl," my dad said, looking sad. He took a bite of his food and then asked, "Did those mean kids bother you today?" I shook my head as I chewed my food. "Good. I guess the town has gotten quiet since she disappeared." My dad drank his water quickly and left the room with his plate. As I was eating, a piece of meat got stuck in my tooth. I tried to get it out with my finger. When I pulled it out, I saw something strange in my hand. A small piece of red ribbon with a long blonde hair wrapped around it. Instead of being scared, I just smiled and kept eating. But that wasn't the end of the story. More weird things started happening in Pine Hill. More kids went missing over the next few years. Always the ones who had been mean to me. Each time someone disappeared, there were fewer searches, and people gave up hope faster. Some families moved away, taking their kids to safer places. My dad and I stayed. "This is our home," he would say whenever I asked why we didn't leave too. "The forest takes care of us." I began to notice my dad acting strange. He spent more time in his workshop behind our cabin. Sometimes I'd hear him talking to someone, but when I looked inside, he was always alone. At night, I'd sometimes wake up and find him standing by my bed, just watching me. "What are you doing, Dad?" I'd ask. "Just making sure you're still here," he'd say. "Making sure you're still mine." On my 12th birthday, my dad gave me an old book with yellow pages and weird writing I couldn't understand. "It was your mother's," he told me, his hands shaking as he gave it to me. "She wanted you to have it when you were ready." "Ready for what?" I asked, touching the strange symbols on the pages. "To understand," he said, "to continue what we started." That night, I started having dreams about a woman who looked like me. She would take me through the forest to a place with a circle of rocks sticking out of the ground. In the middle of the circle were things that belonged to missing kids. Ribbons, shoelaces, a bracelet. "They took everything from me," the woman in my dreams would say. "My life, my chance to see you grow up." She would touch my face with cold fingers. "But we can take something back." I'd wake up with dirt under my fingernails and leaves in my hair, even though I didn't remember leaving my bed. As I got older, Pine Hill got worse. The people who stayed in town started looking sick and old before their time. Plants wouldn't grow right. Animals got sick. And the forest seemed to be growing closer to town, taking over empty houses. My dad got sick when I was 16. He got weaker and hunched over, but his eyes seemed to glow brighter as his body got weaker. "It's almost time," he told me one night as we sat by the fire. "The circle needs to be finished." "What circle, Dad?" I asked, though deep down I already knew. He took my hand in his cold one. "The one your mother started when she died giving birth to you. The one I've kept going with each child that disappeared. The one you'll finish when I'm gone." I stared at him as I finally understood. The missing kids. He nodded, the firelight dancing in his eyes. They were sacrifices. To feed the forest. To keep you safe. To make you strong. Strong for what? He squeezed my hand. For what's coming. For what's always been coming. The end of Pine Hill. That night, I dreamed of Jenny for the first time in years. She stood at the edge of the rock circle from my dreams, her blonde hair now dirty and dull, her blue eyes cloudy. Behind her stood all the other missing children, looking like ghosts in the moonlight. "You did this," Jenny said, not sounding angry, just stating a fact. "No," I said. "It was my dad." "I didn't know." The ghost children laughed, sounding like dry leaves in the wind. "You've always known," Jenny said, "since the first time you ate me at your dad's table." I woke up screaming and my dad ran to my room. As he held me, I noticed for the first time how the veins in his hands glowed green, how his eyes didn't reflect any light at all. "What are we?" I whispered against his chest. He stroked my hair gently. "We are the forest's children," he said quietly. "Its protectors, its avengers. And the missing kids? Fuel," he said simply, "for the fire that's coming." I have to stop my story here. I'm recording this from my dad's old cabin, and I hear someone walking on the porch. A new family moved into town, and their little boy has been coming too close to my woods lately. He has his mother's eyes and his father's mean smile. I know that smile. His father was one of the boys who bullied me years ago, one of the few who left Pine Hill and dared to come back. Some might think what I'm about to do is terrible, but I'm just keeping up the family tradition. The forest needs to be fed, and I, like my dad before me, have grown to enjoy it. I'll finish my story another time. Right now, there's a knock at my door and a small voice asking if I've seen his lost puppy. The forest is waiting for another sacrifice, and I must answer.